Hello everyone, welcome to ESL TV for the Intel Extreme Masters CIS Cologne qualifiers. I'm Jason Kaplan, joined for the first time in about a year here with Joe Miller. How are you doing, sir?
It's been a long time. we actually worked it out earlier. Intel Extreme Masters Cologne last year was the last time that we actually casted, which is fitting because we're doing qualifiers tonight for Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, if I can get my words out. You know, I'm new to this game and everything. Basically, we're going to get right into the semi-final because the teams, as you may have noticed by looking at your watch, have taken a little while to get going on this one. You already told them you're way ahead of me on that one. So, yeah, basically, in the other side of the bracket, I'll quickly mention that first. Moscow 5 and Virtus Pro are currently playing their best of 3. The winner of this cup today, one slot for the CIS region, will go to the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne. The game that we're going to be doing, if you're ready for it, the Pandas in Disbanders versus the Dolphins of Wall Street.
I still say it, I told you this before the show started, that I would much rather say these team names than Unicorns of Love. Back in the Black Monster Cup, I hated that team name. It just, to me, it doesn't really roll off the tongue well. But, of course, obviously, this is going to be our match, and then we'll be doing the finals, like you said, for our final team getting through from the CIS qualifiers. We also do have Fnatic already invited to actually play at Intel Extreme Masters Cologne. Of course, we have one more team coming in from the fan vote, 2 NALCS teams coming in from the fan vote, and then one Turkish team coming in, which I'm guessing is probably going to be DP because it always seems to be Dark Passage.
Yeah, they kind of dominated Turkey when it comes to all the big stuff over there. Also interesting, the 2 fan vote slots for NALCS. Really interesting, that one. Curse, obviously, everyone was trying to push Curse to get to San Jose, but didn't quite work out for them. Cloud9 instead, of course, will be going there. But I think Curse might make it through, which means we get to see Piglet in action for Curse.
Yeah, I'm actually
maybe.
I'm
Obviously, that could just not happen if you guys vote differently.
Well, of course, we also have EG, Teammate. You have Dinatas, CLG, of course, with Zion Spartan on the team. And then, of course, you have Gambit, Copenhagen Wolves, Rocat, Super Hot Crew, and SK. A lot of good teams. I'm actually really looking forward to these tournaments, hoping to see some really good matches between them. Not to mention with all the roster swap that's been happening across Europe and North America. You know, Fnatic, I'm curious to see, is it going to be, well, the same Fnatic, or is Reckless going to join someone else? Is Peke Soaz going to stay on the team with Cyanide? I don't know what's going to happen.
That's the coolness right now that no one really knows until it's going to be announced. By the way, today Deft from Samsung Blue announced that he's going to Edward Gaming in China. So it's all a little bit of fresh off the press news for you there. But we are actually into picks and bans here, so we can get into this one. Of course, as I said before, they are all best of 3s tonight, which is, I say all best of 3s. There's 2 best of 3s. We've got to line up our... I can't quite see.
It actually looks right. Almost. Oh, it's a little high. It's a little high.
It's a little high. Bring it down a touch.
This isn't my screen that we're on.
That might be why then. We'll get there, guys.
I was going to say, my mouse was in that same spot before. Oh, there we go. Is that about right?
And it works.
All right.
So it was my screen, and that's why everything was broken. So bans coming out. Gnar, Jace, 2 incredibly strong picks right now. Nothing really surprising about that. Lucian also is pretty damn hot. Probably the best AD carry. And actually, when we did the ESL Euro series the other day, I think Lucian was banned in like every single game. No real surprise. Syndra also a powerhouse, and Maokai, of course, a beastie top laner.
Yeah, very true. And actually, we did see, I was looking at the matches that we saw Pandas play a little bit earlier on against Rocks, and they did play Gnar, Jace, and Maokai. So obviously, a little bit of research done here by the Dolphins of Wall Street. Never get tired of saying that name. With the final ban here, I'm actually really curious to see what it's going to be. Honestly, there's a lot of champions you can take away at this point. We even saw, I think, Azir. I think you were saying earlier on today. I'm not sure if that was a placeholder.
I don't know if it was a placeholder or what, to be honest. We do know that Jarvan's gone, and this is another trend that we've been seeing more and more of, which is Irelia really being focused as a very early pick from both sides. I still think there are more priorities. For example, Kha'Zix, even to the likes of Zed. Obviously, if your mid laner is comfortable on those assassins. But I think Kha'Zix is probably a better choice in this scenario. Yeah,
completely agree. I think that's what we've also seen a lot lately as well. Is if it's not top lane, it's going to be most likely the jungler. If not, a supporter AD carry very early on here. Definitely leaving the mid lane for last pick. But of course, Kha'Zix, what's he going to go up against? Lee Sin's open. Always could potentially see him. Wouldn't be actually surprised to see him picked up here. Definitely a strong champion, and never really falls off in terms of people enjoying him. But again, you could go like the AD carry route. I mean, Lucian's gone, so I think we might see what we saw way back in the day when we first started casting, the good old Corki versus Ezreal lane that we love so damn much. And it looks like we will have at least the Corki picked up here.
Yeah, I don't know if Ezreal specifically, but, you know, Graves has been coming back a lot these days as well. Corki Nami is a fine lane, pretty much one of the top lanes I think you can definitely be coming out with Champion Select with these days, and it looks like they will be taking that. My question is to you, if they pick Warwick, is it either going to be the Wolf of Wall Street?
We don't have a Dolphin champion yet, do we? I was thinking, what, can we get like a maybe, is Nami kind of close? No, more of a fish here. But obviously a lot of new splash arts, which has actually kind of confused me a little bit. I was actually really concerned who that was at first, and I realized that it's actually Blitzcrank.
Who else would that possibly be?
I don't know. Maybe like Evelyn. Just randomly.
I'm not sure about that.
See, even it's been a year, and my jokes are still bad, Joe.
I know. Well, if there was one thing that I expected not to have changed over the course of a year, it's the terrible joke. So it's good to see that is still there. But Blitzcrank actually was played earlier on in the game that I was watching over on the Russian stream, which was Virtus Pro against Solar Winds. Solar Winds played a Blitzcrank in the bottom lane. Didn't exactly go their way, though. They ended up losing that 2-0. And while we're on that point, we're going to show you the brackets in just a little while we've got those 3 minutes while we're ramping into the game. But Pandas in Disbanders took down Rockskiss 2-0. Dolphins of Wall Street actually had a bit more of a problem. They beat Renaissance in the first round, the quarterfinal, 2-1. So picks are in anyway. We see Morgana there for the bottom lane. Obviously, Morgana was popular around about halfway, I guess we can call it, into Season 4. A lot of Morgana over, you know, both LCS regions and over in Asia as well. But obviously got a few hits when it came to, you know, her statistics. So quite surprised to see that Morgana coming out. But I guess if you land in your skill shots left, right, and center, you can still be setting a lot up. I'm
still just surprised to see her picked then. I mean, why do you need to pick your support right now? Obviously, you can pick an AD carry instead. I mean, obviously, you're going to leave your mid lane for last. You don't want to necessarily show that anytime soon, but I guess we'll see here. And one thing, you know, we should keep in mind about Pandas and Disbandas, that name it's so perfect, is that the fact Demonko and Famco were previously on Rocks and previously on Instrument Surrender back when we were in Moscow for Season 3 of LCS. So definitely a good duo between them. And they beat their previous team, which they now have Libic, if I'm not mistaken. Rocks now picking up him as support, so separating him and Mackler for the first time in 4 years, just about. So really curious to see how they're going to do here. But the Malphite, to me, that says Orianna mid lane then. If you're going to pick a Malphite, you need someone who does a lot of damage. Obviously, Corki can pump out quite a bit, and these things can be really impactful early on, but you need someone that can kind of back them up.
Yeah, and I was just thinking as well, Morgana maybe just for that black shield there, which obviously is going to do a lot as the game goes on. And in the lane phase as well, if they end up 2 versus 2 against that Corki Nami lane. Yeah, Malphite against Irelia, we've been seeing basically Malphites coming out, which I'm not really a massive fan of because I just don't like watching Malphite lane like, for 40 minutes at all. On the other side, though, Victor, I'm imagining, will be switched away from, and it will, in fact, be Orianna and taking Twitch here for Torrent on AD carry.
All right, so taking the Orianna away from the side of Dolphins and the Pandas and Disbandas. I'm already struggling on that one right now.
Dolphins in pajamas.
But taking that away. But the Twitch, good old champion that got me pitchforked back in Season 3. I love that champion. But I don't know. I mean, he still, to me, can be very strong early on. The one downside you're going to have for him is obviously no strong escape. If a Malphite jumps straight onto, you're most likely going to go down from that one. A Vel'Koz, though, potentially being sat on.
Nah.
I wouldn't expect it. But again, out of CIS teams, you know, you can't really.
Yasuo is the perfect champion to go into this. You know, I mean, yes, you're going up against Orianna in that mid lane, but you're gonna have knockups basically left, right, and center from Lee Sin, from Malphite, from Nami. Twisted Fate. I mean, it's Twisted Fate. Fonko is actually a big Twisted Fate player, and that's just the same as basically always for Twisted Fate's side of things. As we switch over in the very last second.
You know, Nami mid lane, of course.
Blitzcrank, which, okay, I got a message from Fonko. It's Xerath.
Huh.
Okay. So it's Xerath. So we're obviously going to get a remake from that.
Yeah. So Xerath, I mean, he's not a bad choice. The fact of you have the really good range against Orianna. And, I mean, obviously it's not Orianna, so you can't have the ball delivery system, but you still have the whole let's poke him down forever until we're ready to send Malphite in and go. And then you can really pretty much just burst someone down from that kind of point. But I don't know. It seems a little weird. The Twitch, I'm really worried about that pick. Obviously, there's a lot of different champions that could have gone, but I guess we'll see here. Obviously, it's a best of 3, so one game won't ruin it for either team.
That's it. I mean, these teams have got a bit of time to like feel each other out, feel each other up, and other things like that. But more importantly, figure out what they're going to be doing throughout the game. That's where I was really going with that. We can actually show you the bracket here as well today. I did link it earlier on in Twitch chat, and apparently we do have Moobot in there now, so maybe that whole bracketing stuff works. But obviously, we are covering here that top semi-final. Pandas in Disbanders versus the Dolphins of Wall Street. There's a regame. There's a regame because of the placeholder. Moscow 5 versus Virtus Pro is actually going on. In fact, if I just give it a quick reload, maybe we already have a result from that. No, we don't. I know that Moscow 5 did win the first game.
It was a landslide as well.
This shoutcasting things, I'm a little bit out of touch, I think. It's been a while since I last casted, like a month. Actually, I casted on Friday, which has been like 3 days. So it's not even that long ago. But yeah, that's the bracket, as I said. And we'll be bringing the second semi-final from the top side, plus the grand final as well. The winning team will go through to the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne. That also gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about upcoming Intel Extreme Masters, and I think most importantly about San Jose, which is really just around the corner. If you go over to intelextrememasters.com, you can actually buy tickets for that. We're doing it in the SAP Arena, which is the home of the San Jose Sharks, and they play ice hockey.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
I forgot it for a second there, but I was like, pick America sport, and you might be right. I was.
I mean, if it's an animal, it's probably going to be either football or it will be most likely hockey.
Yeah, so that was it. I was like, hockey? Why would they play football in that stadium?
They can't.
So that was my
it's a really nice stadium, though.
It is a nice stadium, and we've got a lot of teams, a lot of interesting teams, I think. The fact that Unicorns Love did manage to push through into that one, along with TSM, Alliance, obviously Cloud9 that were voted from North America. And then there's going to be a Latin America and a Brazilian qualifier as well, which will decide the 2 teams from those regions that will actually come in and get to play against the big dogs, so to speak, and maybe pull off some upsets on a big stage. I mean, imagine being the Brazilian or Latin American team coming in and beating one of the LCS teams on a stage like that would be pretty awesome.
True. Yeah, it would definitely be really cool for them. Not to mention they've been getting more and more exposure, over the past 2 years, getting the wild card qualifiers and playing a lot of these international teams that they don't really have the opportunity to. I'm even looking at the Latin American brackets really quick, and we have Lion Gaming, a long time team, even playing back in. Was it the Season 3 wild card? When they had
last year,
Was it Hacker V2 was on the team back then or something like that, and even this last one. But there's a lot of good names. Sia, Nerzel, Porky, Thyak, we recognize them. Even Yuri over on PEX, which you mentioned a little before the cast started. But I'm really curious to see how even the LCS teams are going to do with the roster swaps that they've had recently. I mean, it's kind of like the season of that right now, and this is our first, kind of look coming into the next season of LCS of how they're going to do.
Well, we still don't 100% know the lineups for some of these teams, so that's going to be the first real big test for them before the LCS actually gets back underway in 2015. When that happens, I'm not the man to tell you, but it'll be 2015 because that's what usually happens. And we've also got the big patch around the corner, which I've been doing a bit of studying up on, the new Summoner's Rift update and changes to the jungles. Have you looked at any of that?
I remember seeing a video of Stonewall back in the day about the jungling, and I remember seeing the crabs in the top left side and the bottom right side of the river.
So they're actually really interesting for me because I think that'll change a lot about the game. Like, if you kill these crabs, I forgot their actual names.
I don't know them either.
I'm sure I can.
I know they do.
Totally cheat on. In fact, I know there's a Reddit thread.
Well, they do give you a speed buff.
That's right. They do. And this buff that you get actually grants you vision of that area. So if you can control them, you basically have a free ward. I think it lasts 90 seconds and spawn every 3 minutes. So you get quite a lot. There it is. Preseason for dummies. Good thread on Reddit if you've not already checked that one out. What are they called? Scuttle crabs, which run up and down the river. And apparently they're actually really tanky unless you've got a slow. And you get bonus damage if you slow them.
Huh.
So it's actually quite different, like a really different kind of
mechanic
to that one. So yeah, they take bonus damage if they're slowed or rooted, snared. So if you got no snare or root, then you probably shouldn't have a go at them because apparently they are super tanky. And
well, one thing I do like
takes ages to kill them.
That you mentioned, the whole jungle change is that we saw every season the jungle really affects how the pace of the game goes, and kind of right now it's I'd say stagnated a little bit in terms of that. The junglers don't gank before level 4 pretty much. They just sit there farming the entire time. And then if they're an assassin, they try to come out jungle, pick up kills. I like the changes that they're doing. I like how they're definitely mixing things up. But also make it a little bit difficult for some other champions who can jungle to be able to do it. For instance, Zach. I remember reading a thread on Reddit a little bit earlier on talking about how he can't jungle that well right now, and he can't really do it at all in the next season patch. So they need to kind of maybe tweak a couple of champions around, make it possible for that to happen, and then you're going to have these new champions coming back, maybe some more support champions that we saw back in, was it early Season 3 and in Season 2 come out.
Yeah, there's the other stuff as well that they added in, the different basic item routes for the Hunter's Machete, which you can do like crazy stuff with now. I'm trying to scroll to the right place. So go into like a Poacher's Knife, which is, it gives you half your cooldown on your smite if you smite in a large jungle creep inside of the enemy jungle, and you get a speed boost. So basically, you run in,
counter jungling.
You run in, smite it down, and you get a speed boost, so you can run out and your smite's up in half the time. But there's also other stuff where you can smite champions, so that's for like a bit of extra counter jungling and basically killing off the other jungler whenever you can. And there's other ones for farming and stuff like that, where the smite does like AoE damage and then there's
that's
like
actually really cool on the AoE one.
There's enchantments as well for each different item set. So it's kind of going to be crazy there. There's going to be a lot to learn whenever that comes out.
It is, but it's also nice because, you can always predict what people are going to build just because, like, there's such a set number of items that are actually, viable in the current meta. But if you have all these additional changes, you can look at, see a new jungler is probably going to pick up this enchantment. He's probably going to be trying to go for a lot of counter jungling, which he already excels at, but makes him even better. I don't know. I like that. I like adding new items into the game. Really helps keep it fresh, keeps it new, and definitely makes so the teams who are really good at adapting can really shine.
Either way, I'll still be rubbish at jungling. Although I say that, in Korea, I'm going to tell you this.
What'd you do?
My placement games, played Jarvan a lot in Korea.
and
went 10-2 in placement games.
Nice.
Me and Riv bossing it up.
What was he playing?
AD carry.
Okay.
So it was actually really hard. But that's more because I'd not actually played the game in quite a while, because obviously traveling here, there, and everywhere.
True.
Finally, when we got Seoul, we sat down a little bit and went to a PC bang, got to play, and then tried to learn a little bit of Korean for chat at the start.
Did you learn any?
Not particularly. We just copied and pasted stuff into Google Translate, which actually worked a lot more effectively than it probably should do. But guys, we are actually in game now, so we can get in there and figure this one out, see how it's all going to go down. Actually, you need to change colorblind mode. So
no, it's on.
No, yeah, but it's not. If you go into options and do it again, basically, it does the scoreboard at the top. I think that's like some kind of bug that's around with Spectator Client at the moment. But either way, we are into game number 1, and it's the Pandas in Disbanders. On the red side for game number 1, up against the Dolphins of Wall Street. On the blue side.
Can you say that with a straight face?
Not really. And we got a pause. Great.
Well, it wouldn't be a qualifier.
That's a really big chat box, by the way.
Yeah.
I think you might need to
make it darker. No.
Make it smaller.
I gotta remember where that is.
Interface.
It's hard, all right.
There we go.
Okay. So apparently,
now you can, if you're really cool, you can just slide it to the left underneath Morgana's portrait. Yeah.
It's still too big.
That works. I think that's cool.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got a pause now, which apparently will be fixed here in 30 seconds. It seems like it's actually going to be DWS, which is going to be so much easier to remember, by the way, than the Dolphins of Wall Street and Pandas in Disbanders. We've actually got the names the wrong way around at this early stage of the game, but we'll fix that. We'll get them on the right side. But guys, it is a best of 3. So you're in for the long haul tonight. 3 games, or possibly 3 games here, and then a best of 3 grand final to decide which CIS team goes to the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne, which will be happening on the
18th of December.
18th till the 22nd, 21st. No, it's the 17th till the 21st then. 17, 18, 19, 20. It's the 18th till the 21st, which is Thursday till Sunday. It's 4 days long, and it's going to be cool. And tickets aren't on sale for that yet, but if you want to get yourselves here to Cologne, watch some top League of Legends action, then you can definitely check those out once they go on sale. But it looks like we are back into game now, so we can get this one underway. Looks like, actually, PID, P Diddy. I don't know where I'm going with that one.
I don't know either.
Not really sure where I was trying to go with that one. Looks like they're pushing down into the bottom side of River, setting up a bit of a death brush.
And they actually might get a little bit of luck here. Morgana might be coming around. They actually walk straight into this, and she's actually going to ward it up and will completely walk away. All right, they're going to miss all their skill shots. She will escape, and we'll at least get the vision, allowing Kazakhs here, as you can see, to push in, get a little bit of a deep ward down, and then maybe potentially go for red buff, even though there is a ward on it. But quickly, before the game does kick off completely, I guess we can go over the lineups for you guys at home who might not be familiar with these teams. Over on the blue side here, and bear with me, I'm doing the spectating and trying to do the names here. We have Varessa on Aurelia, we have Lasagna on Kazakhs, we have Keldrake on Oriana, Torin on Twitch, and Morgana, well, Smurf on Morgana. And I'll go ahead and let you do the other side for you.
Thanks for that. I wasn't actually listening to you. I was thinking about something else, just to mention that you're doing the camera work today.
I am doing the camera work,
After I missed 2 out of 3 First Bloods on Friday night in the ESL Euro Series, I was demoted to, just normal play-by-play guy, not allowed to touch the camera at all. But anyway, on the other side, for the Pandas in Disbanders, is Old Hero SC2 in the top lane, Fleedic in the jungle, Fomko, who you may remember from basically back in Russia last year when we were doing the international wildcard qualifiers, Easia's Tutorial, and Demonko is another name that's been around for a good while. For now, actually, we see that lane swap coming in, and it's actually PID that have initiated that lane swap, sending their duo onto the top side of the map. Looks like actually Lasagna and Varessa will both be going around the jungle together. And, okay, Old Hero SC2 is with Fleedic as well. So, buddy system going on in the jungle. A not so spectacular start in this one, but I guess that's what we were expecting. First game in a best of 3 as both teams kind of feel each other out and get ready for this big encounter.
Yeah, very true. And we already see on the bottom side here that DWS is actually pushing the lane as quick as they possibly can, just to force Old Heroes down towards this bottom lane quickly so you can continue to sit around that jungle and help out here. But we're going to see, I don't even know what to call this. Is there a special term for this, Joe, where you have the supports join the top laner in a lane? Because it's obviously not the AD carry support lane anymore. It's not the duo lane. It's kind of like an awkward, let me just make sure my top laner doesn't die lane.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, it always makes sense as well, because honestly, your AD carry doesn't need any help whatsoever.
True.
Especially if that AD carry just turns out to be Corki, who can just Valkyrie away in case anyone actually comes anywhere near him. So there's not really that much of a danger. One thing, though, that you do have to then worry about is if the support does decide to come down the bottom, because between Malphite with his slow and a bubble from Nami, that AD carry could be in trouble pretty quickly.
And also does give him a lot of sustain with the heals in lane 2. And we already did see Smurf actually head towards that top side, expecting Demonko to maybe still be there. And that's kind of forced Torin to sit a little bit back, play a little bit more passive here, and miss out on quite a bit of CS. But Lee Sin going on the mid lane here, looking for Keldrake. Doesn't even force the flash out of him. And Fomko, well, unfortunately, had to use his a little bit earlier on by Morgana coming around for that gank mid lane. But look at this, Lasagna head towards the top side here, looking for a kill. And Torin, in the meantime, bottom lane, didn't miss it. I caught the bare end. Looks like he will escape this one. Dart Binding comes in. Torin, I'm not sure why he stopped moving right there. Well, that will be a 1-for-1 trade here on the bottom side.
Nah, I think he just figured that he's actually out of any chance of escaping that one, as it looks like we are going to be having a pause, which might be Torin there, judging by the way that
I think so.
He actually stood still at the end of that one, and he has, in fact, disconnected and reconnected, so hopefully he's back. But we actually see that gank in progress in the top lane right now, which is what I mentioned before. The only real danger there to Corki is if jungler gets involved. He's already used quite an early Valkyrie there. Might be forced to actually flash this one. Don't think so necessarily. It all depends on what cooldowns Aurelia's basically got available here, whether she can Blade surge in and really make up the distance. And whether Lasagna has already used his Void Spikes, because I didn't spot that either. There are the Void Spikes, and there is going to be the flash. And actually, Varessa flashing in there as well. They've got the damage here to finish him off, but Varessa was a little bit... Oh, there's a flashing from Lasagna. Not messing around there. Flashes right on top of Easy. He wasn't expecting that, and there he goes on to Old Hero as well. He doesn't quite have the damage to finish off that second one, but Lasagna, few surprises from him.
I have to say, I've never seen that combo used before like that and executed so perfectly. And now Fleet can actually catch out Smurf here. Land the Q, has the slow as well, but won't be hit by Dark Bonding, so he won't be able to keep up here. But fantastic little bit of exchange. He's actually going to ward over the wall here, looking for the auto attack, gets the red buff, and forces that flash out of there. And they should just back away from this one, even with Torn head up from that bottom side. But now again, Lasagna going to be coming down from the lane. Going to be looking for potentially something here. They could maybe pick up a kill if he goes in.
And yeah, I think in trouble there, but there's a safeguard and not really too much of a problem. Actually, the bubble missing there as well onto Lasagna. And I kept hearing Zonya because you were saying lasagna with your Murica voice. But now I know what you're talking about. I was like, Zonya's what? What does he mean? Lasagna. That's what he meant. Legs.
Lasagna.
I've not said that for a long time. Jason says legs instead of legs, if you didn't already know that.
I'm sure people remember from a year ago when he used to harass me on that. But either way, still a really blood-heavy game we've seen so far. You know, of course, the teleport we saw earlier came out of Old Heroes towards the top side. It didn't really save anyone's life, and he almost actually paid the price for that one. But now we're back to a standard game here, Joe, and as we can see, you know, it's going to have a Vamp Scepter Doran's Blade for Torn against the double Doran's Blade, and now the bubble even coming on top of him. Can take quite a bit of damage here. He has no flash, but at least he will be able to escape here with his life for now.
Yeah, flash and heal used earlier on for Torin, and that's a real problem for him in this bottom side. Although, because of the fact that Easy's tutorial then died straight away afterwards as well, he's actually had a bit more time to get his farm back on where he was previously struggling in a little bit. This top lane, as I said before, Malphite generally doesn't have that hard of a time against this Irelia, and especially not now when he's got that early chain vest because of the kill earlier on.
Yeah, and one thing that really helps in his kit, which I think is why you're seeing Malphite up against Aurelia, is that Tato's attack speed slow, if I can say it correctly, since Aurelia does a lot of true damage off of her W as well. So definitely kind of hinders her damage, especially when a Maokai isn't able to be picked since he's banned away. But again, only a lot of blood happening here. 700 gold lead here for the side of Dolphins of Wall Street. And looks like even Fleet going to be coming down the spawn side looking for potentially a gank here. And we know the flash is no longer up for Torn. His stealth, I mean, his only escape mechanism isn't going to matter when you have someone who can spot him out via stealth.
Oh, Lee Sin actually coming in from this one. They've managed to bubble up Smurf, though. This could be a bit of a problem. That's a good dot. I think the Q's already landed, though, and he'll follow through. And Fleedic able to pick up then his second kill and the second kill of the game as well for them. And fantastic little move. I mean, even that after the binding was all about that Q landing and was able to just go straight through and puts him now in a very nice position. Mid lane, of course, after all of this has been left completely untouched. They're just getting their farm on, and it's actually Fomco that's having a much better time of that farm as well. And
that's what's really surprising, the fact that he didn't have flash and he still doesn't even have it up, and yet he's still out farming Kyle Drake that damn much here. And obviously it's going to keep ramping up with that blue buff picked up. Obviously tied in items as well here with those chalices. But really interesting to see, you know, to go back to that gank we saw earlier out of Fleet, is that there was a ward spotting him coming in. It's not like, you know, he was able to sneak his way through there, and yet it still took him that long to escape it. Obviously, the bubble coming on Smurf helped out quite a bit, but again, DWS now going to have an even more tough time here on this bottom lane. And, you know, that lead that we saw, Torn pick up from CS, is now pretty much completely gone.
So blue buffs as well going over to both mid lanes. There's a deep ward put in by Kha'Zix. Lasagna went over and actually cleared out a paint ward from the red side of the map and put that ward of his own in position. This bottom lane has become now a bit of a problem, to be honest, as Easy's tutorial just being completely frozen out of that one, being zoned away from the creep. Can't do a lot. Obviously at level 6 it becomes a little easier for him when he can actually just throw in his missiles, but for now, he's just hoping that that lane is going to get reset and pushed back his way.
Exactly. I mean, he needs a support there to shove it as quick as possible. He's actually just charging straight into them here, and he's disconnected as well. So it looks like I'm going to have a little pause come out of him, realizing he's lagging out on that one. And again, you know, we talked about, you know, Torn earlier on that gank out of Old Heroes who came down for the kill. He disconnected, and he would have survived that if he didn't disconnect right there since he got auto-attacked to his death. And now the same thing happening. Tutorial, who kind of just got back in the thing, or back in the game with Fleet going for that gank. Well, he's going to lose that little bit of a lead he just got from it. Yeah. Luckily, he will die like Twitch.
Not salty or anything.
No.
Not even.
Well, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot at stake here. I mean, not to mention, playing against some of the best teams in the world, but the prize money that's at stake here. Coming to Cologne, you might not have been here before, get some experience against the top teams in the world. There's definitely a lot at stake here for them. And yeah, so they're actually still complaining about Twitch, saying that she would have been dead anyways. But either way, I'm really curious to see how this poke comp kind of goes. We saw that kind of disappear over the period of a year, I guess, with the whole Nidalee changes and then Jace falling out of popularity. But you still have it with Xerath and Corki, like the Rockets and the ultimate plus the Qs out of Xerath can really hammer you down pretty low when they don't have any sustain either.
Yeah, and the other thing that's a problem there is actually just sieging up against a lineup like this, against Xerath probably in particular, that's just going to blast those waves out before you actually get there. You need to have enough tankiness basically from Irelia, from Kha'Zix, who I'm assuming it's going to be Irelia, and this Kha'Zix might end up just going full on damage. As Ezio's tutorial, as the pause goes away, he actually escapes that one, so no retribution kill, if you like, in that bottom lane for Torrent lagging out earlier. Obviously, we're never going to know whether that was ever going to be a kill without the disconnect actually happening. Top lane, meanwhile, Varessa doing a good job of actually harassing Old Hero away from that lane up until now.
Yeah, I'd imagine that. I mean, the fact that Malphite doesn't really have any kill potential against an Aurelia allows her to build full damage right away. I mean, we're going to see that Triforce come in. We might even see like a Wit's End or a Blade of the Room King, or maybe just go straight tank right after that. But that's the real problem, is that, yeah, Malphite can hold his own decently well, but you're not going to stop Aurelia from farming with this kind of comp or with this kind of matchup, and that's going to allow her to be such a big threat here coming towards this mid to late game. And at least even getting caught out just a little bit, still in a way that big Wraith, just like you're talking about before with the changes to the machete. Obviously, the different routes you can build. We're going to see probably quite a bit of those might get extra speed increase in enemy jungle.
Yeah, interested to see how that all works out. It's always cool at the start of the season when there's preseason changes to watch the players streaming and figuring out exactly what works, what's not working, what's probably broken as well at the start, as is pretty much inevitable. And, that whole kind of progression, really cool to watch. Top lane is still such a struggle for Old Hero. Varessa's now completely frozen that lane, and he's basically going to have to come out and throw his shard in if he wants to be getting any real farm. As we said earlier, it's not a lane where Malphite should have too much trouble in terms of just dying 1 versus 1, although this has already proved with that Sheen in there now that Varessa can certainly do damage. But he's been frozen out of it because of the harassment from earlier on, and that Chain Vest just not enough to keep him up for now. And while certainly missing those few CS that he does get his hands on underneath the turret is not something he wants to do.
That's what's really confusing to me, is the fact that they picked him pretty early on, but they didn't pick the Orianna early enough. Like, if they're trying to go for that comp with the Malphite, which is typically what you will see, then why not kind of lock the Orianna in a little bit earlier on? And Smurf taking a little bit of damage here, but we'll turn around, get the Dark Bite onto Demonko. Unfortunately, there's no one really there to back him up just yet, but you can see the damage that Torrent can do when he finally gets a little bit of time to free attack onto that Nami. Takes it down to about, what, a third life, and almost actually picks up the kill.
Yeah, and that's the beauty as well of this Morgana pick, obviously, after the Nami was already chosen. Take that Black Shield and basically negate that bubble wherever it goes, if you land it on the right target at the right time. Seems like there's a lot of pinging going on towards Dragon, but that was just to get some wards down. There is a blue ward in the backside. Also utilizing the pinks here as well, one in the tri-bush, one on the top corner brush there of the red buff. Meanwhile, I have to mention again this top lane, because Varessa is just running absolutely wild. Almost 30 CS lead. He went between the turrets and started off this next wave. So that one only getting tougher for Malphite, and it's only going to bring Irelia to a position sooner where she's really doing the damage, obviously, once that Trinity Force is done. Yeah,
it's going to be really troublesome, and the fact is that they need to kind of force a fight, but have like an advantageous fight where it's 5-on-4 and have that Malphite ultimate be used right now. I mean, he's going to continue to fall further and further behind, as we do see Smurf getting caught out here and have Lasagna coming in from the side, though. And a nice ultimate comes out of Smurf here. Lasagna now all by himself being forced to flash away. And it looks like it will be a disengage here from both teams. But Demonko getting very low. The flash comes in from Torrent, looking for the kill, but the heal's enough to keep him alive. And both teams, well, they won't really net anything here, but a lot of summoners going down. And even in the meantime, top lane still Old Hero being pressured back. And I was trying to say before the fight broke out there is that they need to force a fight. He's going to continue to fall further and further behind. Like, we're watching him last hit under turret, unfortunately is not really connecting too well, and it's not necessarily his fault. It's just kind of the nature of Malphite with the AoE damage that you do have.
Oh, that was a great combo there. Actually, Lee Sin, I thought he'd bitten off more than he could chew, but with the Xerath ultimate coming in from the side as well, they were able to finish off Lasagna, who he himself was obviously feeling confident there to attack that Lee Sin, who went off to the side, kicked him then back into the river. And that will be another kill, this time falling in the hands of Xerath. So they've got one in the top lane, one mid, and one jungle at this point. So that spread certainly not looking bad for them whatsoever. They are, though, behind in farm in the top lane, behind in farm in the mid lane, and the AD carry is behind as well. So really relying on these kills, but you have to feel that extra farm that's going to be going over towards DWS, the Dolphins of Wall Street, it's probably going to mean that they get to those more critical states first where they can go Dragon. I mean, Twitch already got the Blade of Ruin King, and I'm assuming that Aurelia's got almost 1,800 gold, so can go back, not quite finish off Trinity Force just yet, but won't be far behind after maybe 2 more waves.
Yeah, very true. And I like how you point out mid lane as well, because I remember pointing out before when we saw the first blue buff being given over, Famco had, was it like a 20 CS lead in that lane? It was like 50 to 30. And Kojik's been able to catch up fantastically here. So honestly, kudos to him for that one. Meantime, we're seeing Old Hero actually go back to base. So this might be a good opportunity for the side of DWS. If he does leave, then it's like, all right, well, we can head towards Dragon, force him to teleport either bottom lane or top lane, and then we're going to get a free objective off it. But look at this. He just doesn't even care about Malphite. This should be a free turret within the next wave. The feed can't do anything about it. Yeah,
and also kind of sacrificing the Siege minion there as well, and gets altered. I thought that was actually going to happen in the previous wave where Malphite was trying to recall from right under him. Here we finally see Lee Sin come into this top lane, but honestly, Varessa just turns around and walks away, and that huge CS lead almost ending in the turret actually going down. And with the next wave coming through, with Malphite now recalling, that turret could very well go down. They've already pinged on top of Malphite. I think that is the plan.
Oh, wow, and Varessa's actually going to stick around too. I was kind of expecting him to fall back as well, pick up his Triforce, and then return the lane after. But he's going to get the turret, and then this is going to allow him to free rotate down towards this dragon. You're going to force Old Hero to teleport down from that top lane, because obviously he's going to have to shove it back out. And this is going to be a nice little bit of a extra bit of gold. And you see that 20.7 to the 19.1, a nice 1,600 gold lead. And like I said before, the items, they're going to start hitting their critical mass a lot sooner. And like I said before also, they're already reflected in terms of the items, as we do see that Triforce now picked up.
I wonder if he's just going to TP straight into lane. You have to feel that down straight towards Dragon at this stage of things could be their best play. Know that they've got a gold lead from the CS, that they've got extras. There's a flash in from Smurf. It's going to lock Demonco up here.
Oh, no
they actually
way!
throw the wave over towards Lasagna, but Demonco taking a beating from Tauren at the back. Finally, they get an exhaust down. Here come the teleports. Old Hero is already on the back of them. Varessa has come in and is trying to actually pick off Twitch here. Well, Flash in, manages to kill Twitch, and maybe now they can even take Lee Sin with them. There's the kick. Orianna coming through. Lee Sin going deep. Doesn't get the kill on Lasagna, though. Finally, Old Hero will be able to pick that one up. The binding actually missing, and now Xerath is coming down from the mid lane, but I think he needs to run away. They'll just turn on him, surely. Flash into Shockwave and flashed away by Fomco. That's going to be the end of that one. A messy encounter down in the bot lane.
Very messy, and a 2 for 3 coming out in favor of DWS from that one. They're not going to go for Dragon just yet, but still, like we talked about before, the Aurelia, such a key factor in that fight. Picking up the 2 kills, definitely applying a lot more pressure than, unfortunately, Old Hero could. And Old Hero didn't even ult in that entire fight. He's still sitting on that right now. I think he might have actually even been out of mana, or at least close to it. But funny enough, Old Hero, he's been struggling in lane. He's down about 50 CS. He got 2 kills in that fight. He's now 3-0. He's got the Sunfire Cape done. He's got a Giant Spell built off the back of that as well. So definitely both top laners powering up here, but we've seen just clearly which one's doing more in these fights so far.
Yeah, and then you have to weigh up, is the damage of Aurelia going to outplay the tankiness of Malphite? I mean, he will if he doesn't use his ultimate in the middle of a fight, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see how that one all goes, because already Aurelia's back into that lane. The Dragon may still be a target here, although I think a little bit scared, considering that the 5-5 scoreline on the board is showing that these fights have been a little more even. There is Lasagna spotting out Fleeting, so they know they're around that area. They've got a ward actually right on top of the Dragon as well, so shouldn't be too many issues with that. We also saw Brutalizer picked up for Twitch, so Ghostblade will be coming out next for him, and that's the point where you just don't win a 1 versus 1. If he stealths in and gets on top of you, you're dead.
Pretty much, yeah. And well, right now you're seeing actually Old Hero do really well against Varessa. Goes in with the ultimate, going with an unstoppable force, and he's looking for the kill. But Varessa should be able to pick this up. But Xerath coming in, Rain from downtown misses actually every single ultimate charge. And Varessa picking up the 1v1. So now up to 3-0-1 here. 50 CS lead, 1,600 gold to spend. And not to mention the rest of his team is going straight for Dragon. And what's so weird about this is the fact that DWS, they don't want to fight in this mid game because the other team has Malphite, and yet they're just completely stomping it.
Yeah, I mean, they did that. That was just so weird that he'd go for that 1 versus 1. He knew that the stun was coming up. They're actually jumping in for a little bit more. There's a shockwave. Actually doesn't connect, but they get the kill with the last tick there of Contaminate. And Torrent didn't quite finish off Lee Sin, but I thought maybe the poison would be enough. Wasn't in the end, but it leaves Twitch now with 3 kills of his own. Plus the Dragon to their name. You see by looking at the gold, 4,000 now the difference. And a 3-0-1 Irelia, who's now got a Hex Drinker on top of that Trinity Force. Gonna be hard to match that kind of damage moving forward. Yeah, Alt Hero doing the 1 versus 1 against Irelia. I mean, Varessa just played it perfectly. He just waited until he had less health and then just stunned him up and killed him. I guess the plan was similar to what they did earlier on. He's calling Xerath, but he missed the charges.
Yeah, it's a little bit out of range, unfortunately. And even then, I don't think that might have even been enough. I mean, yeah, he's Xerath. He does a lot of damage, but he's also not really sitting on that much ability power. He only has a Neastar Drawd and that Athene's currently. But he's a good attempt by them. Just unfortunately not really working out for them. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication. But then again, we have to keep in mind, it's a best of 3. It's not like it all comes down to this one map. And obviously this game still has a while to go here. But the Youmuu's has been picked up, called that one right. And we see Smurf going for the cooldown boots. So I was trying to point out before is the fact that DWS, they this is what's weird to me, is that Kha'Zix, he evolved his Q first. So to me that says they want to fight right now. So you can obviously get that extra execute damage in. But also, you don't want to fight against a Malphite just yet. And, well, Fonko going to get completely caught out by Torrent there, picking up the 1v1. But you don't want to fight against a Malphite at this point in the game when he can pop that ultimate, and where Xerath is going to be relatively strong. And yet, they're winning 8-5. You know, we're 19.5 minutes in. They're up about 5,000 gold, and they're completing items. I mean, they're starting to finally be a full item ahead at some points.
Yeah, it's really bad news, and basically happened exactly as I thought it would there. Ghostblade picked up, Twitch comes mid invisible, and is able to then just kill off Fonko. And that's really not what you want to happen. A 4th kill for Twitch. And he just says, okay, I'm going to go back to that bottom lane then and keep my farm going. There's a 70 CS lead now, by the way, in this top lane. And Varessa is just keeping on pushing, moving straight back towards that top lane. Did a bit of damage to Old Hero previously, and will just continue to rip through those minions. And I'm sure probably won't be letting up at all there. Just keep pushing and pushing and pushing on that top lane. And honestly, Lee Sin has been up that top side twice, maybe, overall, and they weren't able to stop the kills happening. They weren't able to stop the tower going down. I
think that's exactly why he's ignoring it now. He realized, well, we can't kill her 2v1. If anything, she could probably kill Lee Sin and still escape from that one. So why not just kind of focus on these other lanes? Maybe try to punish his Twitch, who's just going in with stealth yet again here. But unfortunately, they're not able to really accomplish anything here, and Aurelia is still going to continue to shove this top side. This is really getting unfortunate, and he's sitting on another 1,600 gold. He's got 7,900, about 8,000 here, leading his team and leading everyone in the game currently.
Yeah, 190 CS after 20 minutes, which is slightly off point for the standard, if you like, but
for top
don't
winners,
forget he's had a fight down the bottom. He's used his TP. You know, they were down there doing Dragon. He's been doing a lot of harassment, so he's still hitting some very impressive numbers. And now the bottom lane is a bit of a trap setup. Lasagna is waiting, and actually Demonko is going to walk straight into this one. Ultimate pop by Smurf, but Freerick coming around the side, and he might actually fall from this one, bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. Torrent manages to get to the back. Unstoppable Force comes down. They do get that kill, but will Old Hero now be able to escape with that Irelia, punishing them for it? Finally, they take down Twitch. Lasagna might fall here as well. Irelia keeps going. Bubble will land onto 2 of them, but Demonko, I'm not sure that he can hold on to this one. You know, he does, as Varessa was a little scared of going under the turret. And Fonko, he walks around the side there, threw off his ultimate. I don't think I saw all 3 charges of his ultimate come down. Maybe I just missed them, but he came in, saw that Oriana was coming from the side, and in the end just backed away and didn't really have much of an impact that fight.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. And again, it's like every fight we've seen so far now in this bottom lane, it's been 5-on-4. Fonko just isn't there in time. He's, you know, shoving mid lane, trying to obviously take down that turret, which he was able to finally do here and tie things up. but he's also not having the presence that Keldrake's having because he's there, he's in the fight, he's applying the pressure, and all Funko has to, you know, contribute to the fight is just his ultimate from mid lane. And even then, if he doesn't hit him, you're giving them nothing for your team.
Well, he's finally going to have a death cap done here shortly, which will certainly add a bit of punch to that ultimate. However, Irelia Brutalizer is added in now on top of the Hex Drinker and Trinity Force combo. And look at that. Walking alone versus 3 in the enemy jungle. This is pretty ballsy stuff, but you can see the damage there that he's done to Lee Sin, and that buys enough time for the rest of the team to come around, and they just don't want to fight it.
He's below half HP off of that combo, and there was 3 people up against Irelia. Aurelia's a wrecking ball. That's what you have to say. Almost 100 CS lead now, 4-0-2. Like you said, the Brutalizer done as well. I wonder if he's going to continue to build damage or finally get a little bit tanky. And either way, he cannot be stopped. He's too much of a problem now. And even if they blew all their cooldowns on him, I still don't think they could even kill him.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that I can see in this game that might change it. The fact that there is no beastly tank. There is no one that's really tanky at all, actually, on that side. Yeah, Hex Drinkers are going to help you somewhat, but obviously not to the level that Sunfire, Cape, Randuin's Omen for Old Hero. However, they are going to try and maybe push up again, and he just walks off.
I think they just realized, yeah, we can't do anything. I mean, it's not even an Old Hero's fault in this one. It's just really unfortunate that I really got kind of that fed early on and wasn't able to really stop him a little bit earlier, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Varesta just continue to split push this entire time. Like, yeah, you don't have teleport, so maybe you do need to come down for Dragon, which we already do see Dolphins of Wall Street already start up. But this game, you know, if DWS keep playing like this, they're not going to lose it. There's just no way.
3-man Shockwave actually came out from Queldrake there, but I'm not sure that it really had much of an effect, other than, I guess you could argue, keeping them away from that Dragon for now. But look at Varesta once again causing problems, dragging 3 of them away, as that blue buff, I think, was stolen by Twitch. Yeah. Yes, it was. Stolen by Twitch there. They got the Dragon. They've now got a 7,500 gold lead. It's a lot more. No. Why can't I add up? It's 7,500. I should trust my instincts when it comes to numbers.
Well, I think we remember how bad we both are at math.
Rubbish at that stuff.
Actually, I remember you were doing like percents once for something, and you like nailed them like on the dime, but...
I think I was making them up.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that they were right, yeah. I think a Frozen Heart in this lineup as well is probably going to be needed. Probably before that Randuin's that just got done there. I mean, you're going to have Irelia that's hammering away on you. Twitch, who's, you know, full auto attack, so... I don't know. We'll see how they can actually cope this one. They're going to have a second Randuin's actually coming in from Fleedick, so bit of health, bit of armor.
I think you're spot on with that one, actually. Since Fleedick was going to be going for it, why not go for Frozen Heart and just kind of stack it with your attack speed slow off of your E as Malphite? And that's where Aurelia's damage is coming from right now, is that in her E or Equilibrium Strike. And if she's 4-0-2 and has almost 100 CS lead still over Old Heroes, then you have to do something to stop her. In the meantime, though, there's a little bit of a misplay coming in out of DWS with Twitch pushing bottom. Torn not here to help out to stop this lane from being shoved in, but luckily they do have an Orianna. She does have blue buff, so the wave should be cleared out relatively quickly.
Or they're just going to kill him. Look at the damage there onto Corki. One little combo from Orianna, and he loses half of his HP. You can see that DWS trying to edge forward here. It's going to be Smurf, who's got a lot of cooldown, to be honest, trying to get those dark bindings out of there. In this entire time that they've been trying to push middle, have been forced back from it. Twitch is actually pushing up onto the inner turret in the bottom lane. He's actually got a big wave there as well. They could probably take that inner turret and keep a hold of the middle inner one.
Easily could. And if right now, if the side of Pandas and Dispenders are going to go in, they need to fight now. I mean, they pretty much just gave themselves, or gave up a turret for free. Like, Torn has it no matter what. Okay, maybe if he stops attacking, he won't have it since the team is coming in from the backside. But
that might cancel his recall.
Yep, there it is. Okay.
He's going to go back in there. I mean, they've spotted him going through from that ward.
Yeah.
Although he seems to be a little wary. Kha'Zix is actually coming up through the jungle as well. So that turret is basically going down here in just a couple of seconds. So they're going to lose that one. They get nothing for it in the mid lane. They've stacked up that mid lane, which was then pushed back. But honestly, they're being outplayed across the map at this stage. They've tried to get a few deep wards down, but honestly, it's not about the vision control on the bottom side of the map there. It's just about letting that Twitch get so far up that bottom lane towards you in a turret, trying to counter it by pushing 5 men down middle and then getting nothing in the end.
What's really unfortunate is that they don't really have a lot of damage on their team anymore. I mean, Corki, yeah, he's but 40 CS behind, but he's also 5 kills behind compared to the enemy AD carry. And he won't really be able to do much with an Aurelia in his face. So it's kind of like you can fight 5v4, but there's still a good chance you could potentially lose out on that one. And I didn't even notice, but the Youmuu's picked up for Varessa here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, mid-game Corki's going to offer you a lot, or probably we're already past that point, I'd say. Yeah, you know, he's already offered you what he can offer you. When he goes to the late game, he can't stand anywhere near the damage that Twitch is going to be able to put out. Last Whisper and another pickaxe now put in there, assuming that's going to be an Infinity Edge by the end of it, which just means you're getting absolutely destroyed, to be fair. And there is Varessa again, causing problems for them, stealing away a red buff this time.
And we're seeing actually Pandas and Dispandas feed a lot of their farm over to Fomco on Xerath. So, you know, Corki, yeah, he's only sitting on 1 item. He also only has 700 gold to spend, which he already, you know, bought a Vamp Scepter on as well. So he's kind of stuck at this point of he needs a BF sword, but he also can't afford a BF sword anytime soon. So he's definitely out of this game for a good portion of it, for at least the next 5 to 10 minutes here. And the rest, you can see the damage he's even doing to the main tank here on the side of Pandas and Dispandas.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's gone 2 armor items, which means that...
oh
my God! Miles away. Shockwave going to come through there as well. And this could be a cleanup right here. Varessa trying to get it. It's actually the poison that gets the final blow. Well, they kill off 3 men. They're going to take the middle outer turret. They're probably going to have the inner turret as well.
I think that... Was that the first ultimate we've seen out of Old Heroes so far?
It was pretty rubbish.
Yeah, unfortunately, he just connected onto nothing, and you saw how low he got, but look at this. Obviously, all 5 people at DWS, about half HP, but they continue to push in here. They're not really going to be afraid of this Corki, who, again... Yeah, easily. And I think they might even be able to back away for... No, I'm not going to go for Baron just yet, not kind of blow their lead. They do back off. I think they realize, yeah, we have a giant lead. They're looking at, what, 13,000 plus? 14, 15,000-ish? I just kind of, I'll get there eventually.
14.
They're looking at a huge lead, and there's no point in blowing it right now. I mean, they could have got the inhibitor, but they also could have lost like 3 or 4 people, and then potentially Baron. And look at this, Varessa sees a huge chunk of minions here on this bottom lane. This is just, it's a snowball effect. This is a perfect game being played here so far.
Well, only 1 turret, 14 to 6 in kills. Not looking good for PID. And Old Hero, this Malphite pick, funnily enough, he's got 4 of the team's 6 kills. But honestly, is a bit of a non-factor. We saw in that last fight, destroyed before he could do anything. He threw his ultimate out into basically no man's land in the middle of the lane. And that's sometimes how it goes for you. But so far, the Dolphins of Wall Street definitely looking good. We'll see if they can continue to do this one. Don't forget, guys, if you just joined us, it is a best of 3 this semi-final. Moscow 5 and Virtus Pro, the winner of that one, will meet the winner of this game in the grand final for the 1 CIS spot at the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne, which is where we are right now.
It is.
So Intel Extreme Masters here, which is the studio just, not quite this studio, but around the corner. As in, like, inside the same building, but just around the corner, rather than a different street around the corner. Not sure I really need to even tell you any of this, but I'm going to anyway. There is another dragon coming in. They tried to steal it away. Well, guess what's going to happen? They're probably all going to die right now. Old Hero is being hammered away on. They do manage to get onto Tauren. They've killed off the AD carry, but they've got a melee carry from the top lane that's just going to absolutely dump on him from a great height. Picks himself up another kill, and actually only 1 man survived, and that was Old Hero. Gets bound up through the wall. Good shot from Smurf, who's going to use his ultimate on him as well. And, well, I said it earlier on that AP is the one weakness that this Malphite seems to have at this stage, and it's going to take Smurf about 4 years to actually kill him with auto attacks, and I think it's just going to be a case of him running away. They're actually going for a 2-man Baron, while Varessa is pushing the inhibitor.
I do not know why they're going for this kind of call. Lasagna is already very low here with the Baron. It looks like Old Heroes... I don't think he'll escape, but he should get executed here. Nope, never mind. He will die eventually to Smurf here. So, a little bit unfortunate for him. Baron still sitting on quite a bit of HP here. Lasagna getting still very low. He could go down from this one, but the command protects. Maybe able to keep him alive. That was a really weird call. I mean, they could have either all pushed mid, got the inhibitor and finished the game, or they could have all went for Baron and they got the inhibitor on their next chart, or got the inhibitor and then fell back and done Baron, yet they kind of split off and did different things.
Well, they got Baron and they got the inhibitor.
I guess it works out in the end, yeah, but that was really just a weird call. I think a little bit of cockiness coming out of them.
Well, I think they're in a position where they can be.
Yeah.
Varessa has now got not just a Frozen Heart, but a Guardian Angel as well. So he got to the tanky stage that we were maybe a bit worried about earlier on. And he's also got an absolute shed load of damage on top of that.
He's tankier than old heroes and has obviously a lot more damage.
And he's got almost double the CS, and that's not a small number of double. That's 310 to 167. That's a lot. That is a lot of farm that Irelia has right now. Most farmed in the game. So it makes it easy when you've got that much damage to just push around and be picking up all those waves as you go. Twitch has got an Infinity Edge finish. And just compare the AD carries, basically tells the story of this game. Infinity Edge, Blade of the Rune King, Ghost Blade, and a Last Whisper for Twitch up against a Trinity Force, a Cutlass, and a Dagger.
That's the unfortunate thing, is that you can't really compare them that well. I mean, just in terms of items. And it's kind of been how the game's going, which is really weird again. Considering, you know, Easy had a decent laning phase. Like, he got a good gank in from Fleet. They got a good little bit of advantage. He disconnected, but he didn't die from it. But again, you feed all of your kills, your 5 out of 7 kills onto your tank, who just gets shredded in the fight anyways. It means nothing. It amounts to absolutely nothing here. And well, then you let the Super Minions push middle, take their time here on this bottom turret, and then obviously we're going to have to see Pandas and Despandas go for an engage here. They're going to have to fight this one. They cannot afford to let the second inhibitor fall.
Yeah, and I was talking earlier about the lack of siege in a way on the Dolphins and Wall Street side, but fact is that they did what I said, unless they get so ridiculously fed that they can just go underneath all the turrets, which is exactly what they're looking to do here by looks of it. There is a shockwave coming down. It pulls into big bursts of damage, but they're trying to feed the super minions through onto the Nexus turrets at this point. So they're kind of being split up here, PID. Do they sit and defend that inhibitor turret? Do they go back and kill off those super minions? It looks like they might be forced to make a decision between the two of them. There is Irelia and Twitch moving in. They're going to try and lock down Irelia.
And they're trying to do something here, but unfortunately, a little bit of miscommunication. They don't really go in. They don't commit to anything. And now that's a Nami tidal wave down. That's a Xerath ultimate gone. And this is going to buy a lot of time here for Oriana's ultimate to come right back up. And again, this is just a waiting game for them. They don't need to push in. They have Barrier Buff. They have the regen. They have the damage they need. They have the turret down below half life now from that one wave alone. It's just a matter of time before it's over. Now Malphite has no backup for his ultimate.
Well, let's see. Wave coming through once again. Binding doesn't connect, but there is Varessa hammering away on Lee Sin. We see Lasagna diving in from the side as well, and just like that, 2 of them, 3 of them go down. Old Heroes trying his best to keep them away, but the shields galore as well, something that we didn't really touch on, but just Oriana and Morgana combining to keep people alive that little bit longer. Good games are going to be called, and if they don't surrender, these Nexus turrets are going down either way.
Yeah, very true. Fantastic job by them, and a great realization to engage right there as well. I mean, Old, he went in, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't really catch it on the screen, but he went towards the backside towards Torrent. But in the end, I mean, what is he going to do when he's by himself? Like, his whole dive buddy system is him and Lee Sin, and yet Flea just got absolutely demolished by Varessa there, so he couldn't really do anything in the end anyways.
Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate one, and I mean, on paper, yes, it started off decent there, but it really got away from them, to be honest. I mean, we did see Fomco was ahead in CS right at the very start. Torrent died early, but then managed to claw his way back into that lane. Honestly, Varessa never really had any trouble. Irelia 11-0-5 by the end of the game. Like, that is a absolute massacre in the top lane.
I feel like the big turning point was that 1v1 that we saw between him and Malphite that you talked about earlier on, saying, you know, there was no real point for Malphite to go into that. And Varessa just played it really slow, really cautiously, then realized, well, my health is below Malphite. Obviously, get the stun off and go for the kill. Like, that right there kind of gave a free lane to Varessa. He's like, all right, well, I can continue to shove in, continue to farm up, and he was full built at the end of that game. It was just really unfortunate for the side of Pandas and Despandas, but I think it even comes into the banning phase. We saw, what was it, we saw Gnar taken away. We saw Maokai taken away from Old, which we saw in his previous games in their previous best of 3 they did earlier, were 2 of his main champions that he played. So if you take away some things like that, you kind of make him play something he's not comfortable on, then they kind of just crumble.
And I'm just looking at the damage graph, actually. 29,000 damage was done. The next closest was about 18 or 19, which was actually Twitch there as well. So doing just ridiculous damage, to be honest, in the end, was Irelia. And really difficult one to call. Like, are you going to ban Irelia next game? How are they really going to go about that one? Do they take him or try and take him out of the game completely? But, guys, it is, of course, a best of 3. So we're just going to get these guys hopefully into game number 2 here shortly. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. But we shall be back in just a few moments. It's going to be game number 2. Don't forget, a spot at the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne is on the line. So don't go anywhere.